Well, good morning and welcome to Unfiltered Vision News, bringing you the news unfiltered Monday through Friday. And today is Mighty Men Thursday. So, I just want to say thank you to all of our mighty men that are out there serving our communities, building our communities up, and doing a wonderful job being leaders. And I don't think it's said enough. And I don't think you guys get enough encouragement for what you actually do as leaders in our community. And we need to make sure that we are encouraging our men out there to do better, right? And to also mentor those that are coming up behind you. So thank you. And thank you guys so much for joining us today. So we're going to get started with an article that I came across on this website called Intellisense. And I was actually, interestingly enough, I was looking for like Target to kind of see like what was going on with them. But then I came across this and I was like, I think this is important for people to know. So companies that announced major layoffs and hiring freezes. And I know I didn't get into honoring God with our body, and I will get to that in just a second. But I just wanted to get into this really quick. It's a layoff tracker, right, for the week. And this was actually last week. Good morning, sincerely. Thank you so much for joining. And also for Spud, thank you so much for joining us this morning. So it says, so it's the 22nd. Yeah, that would have been last Monday. BBC to cut hundreds of jobs in Britain and news division downsize. On the 13th, Salesforce, they laid off 86 employees. On June 12th, ServiceNow, they laid off hundreds of employees. And on the 11th, Papa John's shutters nearly 50 locations in 17 states. And on June 10th, Ubisoft lays off 380 employees and shuts down more studios in Barcelona and San Francisco. And so here are some of the companies. Dow and Takeda, they laid off 4,500. PayPal laid off a little over 4,700. Cargo laid off 6,000. Heineken 6,000. Standard Chartered 7,000. Dell Technologies 11,000. Amazon 16,000. Oracle 30,000. UPS 30,000. And VW, it looks like 50,000 that they laid off. So there will be major layoffs and hiring freezes in 2026. And I will make sure you guys have the link in the repost. But that's something for us to definitely pray for, look out for, mainly because, the jobs report's going to be coming out. So I wanted to make sure that we were just keeping everything into perspective because those jobs reports are quarterly. I want to say, we should see something probably about September because we are in second quarter. So let's stay prayerful that these jobs can be, I want to say, not necessarily replaced, but restructured because we are in a time where we do have a lot more robotics and AI, but there is still a reliance on human mobility to get a lot of what we need done, which is a good thing. Because here's the deal. If nobody's paying taxes, this whole UBI thing, which cracks me up, there's not going to be any money there. You can't just create money and be like, hey, there's money. It's like, no, it needs to be backed by something. Come on, guys. No. Can't get something for nothing. Doesn't work that way. So let's get into honoring God with our body. So God, please guard our mind and our thoughts. God, help me to fix my thoughts on what is true and honorable and right and pure and lovely and admirable. So I will think about things that are excellent and worthy of praise. God, please protect our ears and help us listen to your voice. God, help me to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. God, please protect my eyes from sin's damage. God, I make a covenant with my eyes not to look lustfully. God, please speak life over my mouth. God, set a guard over my mouth. Lord, keep watch over the doors of my lips. God, please help our hands to serve generously. God, help me to do good to everyone, and especially to those who belong to our family in the faith. And God, please protect our reproductive organs, and help us to honor you, God, with purity. God, help me to honor you with my body. And God, please protect my feet as I walk along your path. God, let your word be a lamp for my feet and a light on my path. And so I wanted to make sure I got that in this morning. I do apologize for not starting out with it. I got a little bit excited about that article, and I just really wanted to share it with you guys, not to be a downer, but to give you hope that things are changing. And we need to make sure that we are ahead of it, right? And not behind it and not complaining about it, but really being proactive in what we're going to do next. So, with that said, let's get into all sides, right? And some of the articles here. So, Trump cancels signing of bipartisan, and amen to that, Spud, um, of bipartisan housing bill. Tensions high among GOP. So President Trump on Wednesday canceled the signing of bipartisan housing legislation, saying he'll only sign it after Congress passes the Save America Act, which would implement stricter voter regulations. Didn't he say that back in like February? It's June, almost July. What are you doing, GOP? He told you. He said that. He was like, I'm not doing nothing until you bring me this SAVE Act. Really? Y'all thought he was playing. Look, he has nothing to lose, okay? He is a man with like, and we will wait. We will sit here. I do not care. And he's not. I'm sure he's a super sweet person, but he can be a grumpy old man if he wants to. I'm just saying. And he might be on some days. I'm just saying. But he told you, bring it to me. I'm not signing anything else. And y'all are acting brand new, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. He will veto everything else. Like, don't play with him. Don't play with him. Don't play with him. And 80% of all of us want this, including Democrats, Republicans, independents, libertarians, doesn't matter who you are. Everybody wants this. Over 80%. Get it done, Congress, because now y'all are just looking crazy at this juncture. So, Supreme Court rules prison guards cannot be sued for violating religious rights. What? Wait a minute, let me read that again. Supreme Court rules prison guards cannot be sued for violating religious rights. Wow. So, Supreme Court rules that prison guard, okay, for shaving Rastafarian's head. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that is a thing because it is their religion, right? And a Rastafarian is we'll get into it later. I'm not getting into it right now, but yes, it can be their religious preference to grow their hair, not cut it. It's things. It's a spiritual thing for them. And all I can say is for those that are Rastafarians, don't come to America because they're going to shave your head. I'm just saying, like, it's not a thing. If you go to prison here, they're shaving it off. So just, yeah, rethink that pathway. I'm just saying. A Supreme Court ruling allows officials to deny admission to green card holders. Okay, allows officials to deny admission. Okay, all right. So SCOTUS gave the government a blank check to weaken due process. Really? Are you sure? Now that's from the left. Now the center, their headline says court decides with government in dispute over rights of green card holders accused of committing a crime. Now on the right, their headline reads Supreme Court rules in favor of Trump administration on government's ability to deny admission to green card holders. So that means if you have a green card, right? Everything's good, checks and balances, but the federal government says, no, you still can't enter here People have a problem with that. It's not weakening the process. We have the right to tell anybody who is not a US citizen, you can't be here. Just because you have a visa or a green card does not mean that you will not be denied entry. It is not a, I can just do whatever I want to. It doesn't work that way. And people are finding a hard stop at a wake up call. My goodness. So, NewsGuard AI bot claims to provide only reliable news. Okay, first of all, some of these AI bots are very interesting and they rely on us for their aggregate of information. And we're going to get into some things in a minute. But the aggregate of information that we currently have right now in this country is skewed because of the Smith Month Modernization Act, which allows propaganda on United States citizens. So, with that said, if somebody puts something out as what they claim to be a reliable, right, and truthful story, later on you find out that there was some missing information, it might not have been as true as you want, there's no accountability, right? There's no consequence for that person, even if it's a reliable news source, because of the Smith Month Modernization Act and because it does allow propaganda, right? Because there was a time in this country before then, if any news source was purposely misleading the general public, they could be held accountable. We no longer have that. Now we have AI. And in saying that, there are times when AI can skew information true or false. And then it's still up to us to further investigate and put the pieces together to make sure that what AI is saying is actually in fact true. That's all I'm saying. You got to do some extra homework. That's it. And it's out there, but it's how you aggregate the information. Now, Tucker Carlson says he won't support Republicans in midterm elections. I'm out. And that's your choice. He doesn't have to. He can be independent, libertarian. Look, everybody's beating everybody up in the streets right now, politically, not physically, but politically, trying to sway the public. And the public is a little exhausted. And I think it's this midterm is going to be one of historic proportions because there's so much going on. I mean, you've got three professed socialists. I'm not going to call them democratic socialists. They're socialists. They are who they are. And they are all the nominees for the Democratic Party in New York for congressional and Senate Senate runs. That's who they are. And they're okay with that. But guess what? Socialism doesn't work if you're poor. It will keep you poor because it needs you so they have a ruling class over you. It's not about helping you. It's about ruling over you, keeping you broke. That's what you wanted. That's what you asked for. You're never going to get free buses. You're never going to be taxed into oblivion. You are not going to have any type of grocery stores. You will have food deserts because the money is not going to be perpetual because all the people with the money are leaving. Yeah. Welcome to New York. Okay. The Justice Department charges 455 people for over 6.5 billion in healthcare fraud. Now that is, I want to say that's across the country. That's not in just one place, but yeah. And the number is growing because it was like 1.4 billion, now it's 6.5. It's continuing to grow because that's what's happening. And now for Ilhan Omar, apparently new disclosures claim Representative Ilhan Omar's husband made less than $1,000 in 2025. I thought he made like $30 million somewhere. Huh? The numbers keep jumping up and around. He made less than $1,000. You have a winery. He had a company with the financial stuff. What? You don't just trip and make a mistake of, oh, I made $30 million. Oh no, I didn't make 30 million. I only made 1,000. Okay, now not only are you going to be audited, they are going to call for your arrest. They are going to call for your removal from Congress with all of this, because this is no longer a mistake. This is just nonsense at this point. it truly, truly, what? Oh my goodness. Okay, now let's get into not this X story. Let's get into some of the bookmarks that I've put aside. So what we're going to get into, let me see. Let me move this here. Sorry, you guys. I like to be a little bit organized when I'm going through this. The one that popped up, we're going to get into that one in a minute. So they buried this for a reason. Hydroxychloroquine doesn't just block viruses. It reprograms them into cancer hunters that zero in on tumor cells while leaving healthy ones untouched. One of America's frontline doctors, Dr. Richard Russo, exposes the truth. Okay, so let's listen to it. And I'll say this is alleged, right? Because until we actually have more documented case studies that it does this, let's just listen.
It's laughable. It says here, malaria drug chloroquine does not inhibit SARS-CoV-2. So this study came out this week, and this is in tissue culture. So I looked at the study, and I thought, that's interesting. I don't know what happened there, but let me look at it. So then I saw KLU3 lung cells. So they said, hey, it may work in kidney cells, but it doesn't work in lung cells. So in our evidence, yeah, it can work in vitro in kidney cells, but not in lung cells, right? So I thought, well, that's interesting. So I worked at MD Anderson. I was in ocular oncology, and I thought about it. I said, I've heard of that cell line for KLU3 lungs. It's an adenocarcinoma. It's a lung cancer cell. So I tweeted, I corresponded with the author, and I said, I am so happy for your study. You just showed one of the most amazing things that I've ever seen. I never thought I would see something so clear. You just proved that when virus is around and chloroquine is around, chloroquine will let the virus attack a cancer cell. I think about that. So it will protect a normal cell, but chloroquine will not protect a cancer cell because they're dedifferentiated. The receptors are different. I mean, think about that. So I turned him back. I said, thank you. That's the correct. You completely misinterpreted the data, and you hid the fact they hid it. They put it all the way down. As you know, you have to look for the data set. So I found it in the appendix in little letters, KLU3 lung cells. So this is the disinformation campaign that we are faced with. They put out a big thing and they said, oh, it doesn't work. They put it on Medical Express. That's it for chloroquine. It's unlikely to work against SARS-CoV-2. We just proved it. No, you proved chloroquine is one of the smartest drugs in history. It will let the viruses attack cancer cells, but not normal cells.
Yeah. Yep. A dirt cheap, decades old drug that selectively destroyed cancer would obliterate the multi-trillion-dollar oncology cash machine overnight. Yeah. Because I think in some places they can get it for like $2. Yeah. It also helps with a few other things that they don't want you to know about hydroxychloroquine. But you guys can look that up later. Now, I won't get into all of this video with Dr. Fauci. This is never forget, the COVID vaccine is 100% effective. Okay, it's 99% effective. Okay, it's 90% effective. Okay, it's 70% effective. Okay, it's only 50% effective. Okay, it's only 33% effective. Okay, you need a booster. Okay, you need 2 boosters. And it just kept going on and on and on. Not to only that you didn't need a booster anymore. Maybe it's in here. It says, okay, the vaccine injured some people. Okay, the vaccine was completely unaffected, injured tons of people, and killed some people. And what was really crazy at the end of it, he says, your best fight against this, and it's not listed here, is your immune system, which they told us this was supposed to boost your immune system, and for a lot of people, it didn't. Sad. And the saddest part is, at the end of this, it was fake because they're no longer demanding and requiring anybody to get vaccinated anymore. Yeah. I live here in Georgia, I worked in the entertainment industry, and I remember it was like, nope, you got to test, you got to do this, you got to do that. And I was like, I'm a weird, I don't care. And now it's to the point where there's no testing requirements. Nobody's wearing any masks. There's no demand for your immunization card, none of that. But they put people through this for years. And now it's like, oh, okay, well, sorry, oops. We were just following the recommendations. It just kind of lets you know where people are at. Very, very sad, very, very crazy. I'm not going to get into this whole video. This woman right here is very interesting. She's not an American citizen. You can clearly hear that. But she says, you can be here in the United States if you want to. Nobody can stop you. And it's like, ma'am, being in this country is a privilege. It is not a right. It was very crazy to watch her go on her rant. Now, I want to get into this next story. Now, it says the Austin Metcalf autopsy leaked. Here's the crazy part about this, and we're going to get into this. It wasn't leaked, can't be leaked, because it was actually withheld purposely. So the DA, the district attorney in this particular case, requested that the autopsy be held, right? And not available to the public. Now, I'm not sure why they decided to do that, but again, it was decided. So what I did was I looked at this, I did a little bit of research, found it, which I'll show you guys in a second, of the person who actually posted this. And, you've got different things here, and it says Austin Metcalf's birthday is 7/31/2007. Official death certificates in the state of Texas are blue in color, and Austin Metcalf's time of death was 10:53. So you think this is a valid death certificate from Collin County? No. Now this is not the it's not a death certificate. It's an autopsy report, which are two different things, which I thought which was weird with this person's post. It's like, we're not talking about a death certificate, we're talking about an autopsy report. Two totally different things. Two completely different things. Now, here's one post that says, no, the autopsy report in that video, which is the video that I didn't play, but just showing you guys, is fake. It has obvious errors like the wrong date of birth for Austin Metcalf and the wrong address for the Collin County Medical Examiner's Office. The official autopsy hasn't even been released publicly. People in the replies already called it out with those exact mistakes. Okay. So this, I think, is from Grok, right? The ex post claims to show a leaked autopsy report who was fatally stabbed. The specific document is fake and has been identified as fabricated misinformation since shortly after the incident, with claims of drugs in his system debunked by fact checks from CBS News and others. Official evidence and trial records confirm Metcalf died from a single stab wound to the chest. Carmelo Anthony, convicted of murder and sentenced to 35 years in June of 2026. I'm going to bypass that. But I wanted to get to this. So CBS News, fabricated details and a fake Austin Metcalf autopsy report. So the highlighted version here, it says a fake autopsy report surfaced on Facebook falsely claiming drugs were involved. Now the CBS News confirmed team, along with the law enforcement, confirmed these social media posts to be fabricated. Now, there can be two sides to this because, like I told you guys before, we got the Smith Modernization Act that basically says you can propagandize. I'm playing devil's advocate here, so I don't want anybody to get all freaked out. I'm just saying, at this juncture, they've made it hard for what do you believe anymore, right? Because CBS can be like, no, it's completely untrue. And then what if 6 months from now it is? We don't know because, again, we're really not getting the information. We're being told by Texas they withheld it all together, and I'm going to show you that. Now, this is the Facebook post that they're talking about. This is the image that the person in the video, where we were just on my X feed, was talking about this. This is apparently the full autopsy report that this person has put out. Now, when you go, this is what I did in Grok. That's how I knew that other post. I was like, oh yeah, you just put it through through Grok just to find out what was going on. Now, when I went to the medical examiner's page, okay, this is what I was able to find, and I pulled up the letter from the AG addressing the district attorney. Okay. And it says, after reviewing your arguments and the submitted information, we have determined your request does not present a novel or complex issue. So apparently, when they sent it, their request to withhold the autopsy report for public view, they must have used a lot of legalese, I like to say, which the attorney general was like, you don't even need to use that. Like, what are you doing? So, thus, we are addressing your claims in a memorandum opinion. You claim the submitted information may be withheld from public disclosure pursuant to Section 552.108A1 of the Government Code on behalf of a law enforcement agency with a law enforcement interest. Further, you inform this office the law enforcement agency objects to the disclosure of the information because it relates to an ongoing criminal case and release would interfere with the case. Thus, we conclude you may withhold the submitted information pursuant to Section 522.108A1, which means they were like, okay, you can suppress it because of this investigation. Now, as all of us know, the investigation was over, right? We went through the trial, sentenced, here we are. But now we're still in the appeal state. So the case isn't really over yet. So it's still going. Now you could say that it was over because he was sentenced, but like I said, now we're in the appeal process. Okay, so for more information on the cited exception, please refer to open government information on our website. Now, in some people's opinion, they might say, well, if the case is over, can't they get the records now? Again, like I said, it's on appeal. So if it's on appeal, this is still ongoing. And based on this letter, even if you did make a records request, they could still object to it. They could. So I wanted to go back here really quick, and I'll have this for you. So in context, on Carmelo Anthony was convicted of murder in the stabbing and sentenced to 35 years. The trial included graphic autopsy evidence, 9/11 calls, surveillance, and witness testimony. The full official autopsy report has been withheld from public release under Texas public information rules. So again, will that be ongoing forever? No. But in my opinion, because they went to trial, now they're going back on appeal, which means the case, in essence, is still going. You're not going to get an autopsy report. So, as much as I know everybody's going to be looking at this may not be factual information. So, I'm just telling you, do your due diligence, especially when you're dealing with information like this out there, because you don't want to mislead other people. I didn't show you guys this stuff to be misleading. I showed this to you to show you how you can be misled. All right. So make sure you're out there doing your due diligence and staying focused. But I definitely want to, again, thank you for joining me here on Unfiltered Vision News. And remember, stay well, stay focused, and stay unfiltered. We'll see you in the next one.